Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me for another Westworld review. Today I will be reviewing Season 1, Episode 2, Chestnut, which I just finished watching, and I'd like to give my thoughts on it. I have to say, I thought this was another solid episode, and it did fix a few of the issues I had with the pilot, although I do have a few small issues, which I will get to in this review. And just a heads up, there will be some episode spoilers ahead. So, one thing I have to say quickly, I did mention some of the production values last week, but I'd like to mention them again. I thought the score was really, really effective in this episode, and I'd like to just say to everyone on the creative team, great job with the production design in this episode. It was amazing. So this episode introduces two new human visitors to the show, and I thought this was a major improvement over week one, where I said some of the scenarios were a bit confusing and we had no one to relate to. These two gentlemen are interesting enough, but what it really does is give the scenes more meaning, more relatability, and more balance. I thought overall all the acted out simulated scenes, whatever you want to call them, were much improved over last week. I do have to say the most interesting character on this show, in my opinion, is the Man in Black. Portrayed absolutely fantastic performance by Ed Harris. I'm still not sure of his motives, although he appears to be a villain. There seems to be some depth to his character. It's building up slowly, but it's done very well. He also has some very solid dialogue, which was even a bit funny in parts. I actually laughed out loud at one of his lines. And this guy definitely likes to fight, and we now know he's looking for something called the Maze, which sounds interesting, but we really don't know what it is yet. Another interesting character is Maeve. We didn't see too much of this character last week, but we got a lot more for this week as she was reprogrammed. It's a very good performance by Thandie Newton. But also, kudos, we learn a little bit more about her backstory, but not too much. Her scenes were disturbing and did create sympathy for the character and left you wanting more, which was what a good setup episode does. It leaves you wanting more, so good job there. Now comes to my one small issue with the show. We do learn some more about Dr. Ford, played by Anthony Hopkins, and a little bit more about Bernard and Teresa, that they have some sort of relationship, even though we're not really sure what the relationship is yet. Um, but most of the other human characters, and there are quite a few of them, really feel like stock characters. We know very little about them, and they seem like they're on the show just to make the plot move forward. They basically just deal out exposition. Even Bernard and Teresa, we know they have a relationship, but why? What brought it on? It just feels like the human characters aren't being written with as much detail as the non-human characters, and maybe that's intentional. Maybe we will get more from the creators, or whatever word you want to call them, in the future. But for now, I just feel like they're a plot device, which is never good. And the episode does end on an interesting note with Dr. Ford working on a new story, which means a new story for the show as well. So I'm still interested in the show and to see where it leads. I did think the introduction of the two new visitors was huge and brought more continuity to the show, and just helped it be a more solid story overall. So I'm still in on Westworld. I actually think this episode was a slight improvement from week one, and I'm going to give Chestnut a 4 out of 5. And I'm definitely all in on the show at this point and look forward to it in the weeks to come. So a 4 out of 5 for Chestnut. As always, thanks for watching. If you'd like, you can comment and tell me what you liked or didn't like about this episode. Thanks.